I would do another little stream tonight of just cultivating. So this farm, we been farming it with beef for some time, and I think as we gear up for some more multi-playing with some others, that we will be turning our fields into this farm into like a hay farm. There's like 5 or 6 guys that have my mods, and that we'll be MPing with, and it'll be nice. Probably have like 2 T8s on triple mowers, 2 mergers or Oxbow 3/4s, merging, and then a baler. So all 5 will be doing work, and then once we're done with that, mowers will go to bale stacker and telehandler, and then the other 2 guys will go to trucks, flatbed trucks, and while one's in the road transporting to the bale cell, the other one's being loaded up. So it should be a pretty profitable operation, and everyone should have something to do, and keep around 1,000 beef cattle around just to do something. And we're cultivating up this grass here. We're going to be planting alfalfa, so we get a little bit higher yield, a little bit more tonnage per acre, and growth stage is like 4 cycles instead of 7 or 8, like soybeans and corn and wheat and stuff like that. So we'll get a little bit more crop quicker, and I'm currently in the process of building a land roller so we can just roll over our alfalfa and get our moisture if we need it. Could run around and broadcast some NPK with the DN345. It'll be different. Never just ran a hay farm before, and I was thinking of making a Roberts bale for the front end loader. So we're not just running the telly, but you can use the front end loader, the New Holland front end loader as well. So the nice thing is this field gets progressively smaller as we head south, and our lanes you get a little bit shorter. Some of the people we're going to be MPing with, their computers aren't the greatest. Like me and Jake, we have GTX 970s and 960 graphics cards, so we pretty much were able to like maximize the FPS on this. Even recording, it's still 50, but it's usually around 60. If you unlock it, it's usually like around 150 now, because I reduced the clip distance on a lot of things. So a less detailed version for multiplayer. Was going to just try to host the game myself because my internet's pretty quick, and then if that doesn't really cut it, we are looking into dedicated servers because it's pretty reasonable price. They can get 2 gigs of memory for like whatever it was, like 8 slots for like 16 a month, which is cheap. So probably just end up doing that eventually, as my schedule thins out a little bit after the 26th. I say thin out, but it's still like still what people would consider probably 20 to 30 hours of overtime. Medicine, we call that light, so it's just different norms. So we put down a lot of liquid manure and solid manure on this field in lime, and I don't know. I feel like the natural organic liquid manure and solid manure adds too much nutrients to the field. You basically never have to add anything to it after you applicate it once and plow it in. You know, with the residue, if you till in the residue from like corn, and then you toss in some manure over the top, and you chisel plow all that in, like you'll have more than, like you'll exceed ideal nutrients by the time the harvest date comes around, and you'll actually have less yield than if you were to just apply synthetic. So even if you do a few applications of synthetic, you know, you could probably do 2-3 seasons of synthetic multiple sprays before your pH is into an acidic pH level. But see the tracks work with the terrain a little bit. Pretty cool to see that. I don't know. I really enjoy New Holland. I really like the New Hollands that that came out with FS15, and honestly, I wish these mods that I built and mods that came with the game were available in 13. I love 13, and everything just seemed to work well in 13, especially after you installed MR, and just the way that map economies were with more realistic mod, and how your combines had yield loss, and they would slow down, and you know, it actually made sense to upgrade to a bigger combine versus a small combine based on cleaning area and power consumption based on total square meters. So that was great. And however, like many things, Durrell, he kind of like got driven away, because honestly, if you go on FSUK and look at his support threads, it's just, you know, props to that guy. He made a game-changing, revolutionary mod, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if Giants like adopted or purchased some of that, or hired him, or I don't know what happened, but they definitely implemented his way to add real mass. But that was a game-changing mod for sure. But he's gone. A lot of the modelers and modders I recognized when I first started playing 2 years ago. They're no longer here, except for Big Boss Modding, everyone else has since disappeared, and no one really has developed their skills or knowledge to replace them at the same level. So there's negative growth in the modeling community, but those of us that do still mod at a high level, we're pretty close. We know one another and we help each other, so that's good. We all still work very hard. We all still work with one another, share our tips and tricks, tools of the trade, so to speak, and try to elevate one another's game. It's unfortunate that none of us, well, we all share the same mindset, and none of us are really sharing at this time or any time in the near future. But we still continue to work hard. Maybe one day things will change, but till then, all of our individual games are extremely highly elevated. People, I don't know, there's definitely a lot of salty attitudes out there lately. A lot of people still, like 10 months after I pretty much stopped releasing my mods, like people still hold the attitude and mentality of entitlement to other people's work without themselves putting in any effort whatsoever. And that's just kind of the thing that turns the rest of us off. I mean, these are, tens and hundreds of hours worth of work that go into modeling and texturing, and you have some Sour Patch Kid that basically demands to give it to you, otherwise he's gonna go tattle on mom and dad or something like that. And it's not just little kids. There's a lot of grown adults out there that share that same liberal attitude. That it's just a huge turn off to the rest of us to actually put in hours and bust our ass, and instead of making excuses, we just make it happen. And that you see that in all aspects of life, not just farm sim. Definitely see it in my patient demographics. It's really sad. Oh well, what can you do? We just find it easier to not release any work, because if by releasing work, it doesn't generate any new modders. If you deprive or cut off the host, so to speak, people are forced to fend for themselves and forced to learn. Not really forced to, is people that are unhappy with the mods available today, and if you lower your standards and expectations, there's a lot of good mods out there, a lot of usable mods. I mean, they're not the greatest, like most detailed, not the best textured, but they get the job done. If you're looking for something different, a little diversity, there's a lot of simple edits like this New Holland I did. It's just the in-game New Holland that I flipped pipes around, added a case exhaust, and took off all the European, added suspension cab, and a few more bells and whistles. But maybe 3 hours worth of work that went into this, versus if I had to build this whole thing from scratch, that would easily be a 100-hour modeling in texturing and scripting. So that's the difference between making an edit and making a mod, is the sheer volume of hours required. So yeah, if you were to just edit and release, that's it requires no effort, no time, no sacrifice, versus building a new model, building new original content. They're two completely different things. So when someone says, like, at least I release mods, like, yes, you release edits of others' original work, like you put in maybe 4% of the time that the person that made the original mod did. So yeah, there should be no reason why you don't release an edit, because it requires no effort as compared to building it from scratch. That's something that people that have never actually scratch built a model before or textured. They just can't appreciate that or understand it. So basically, we all agree that in order to get new modelers out there, high quality modelers, that we can collaborate with and mutually, and maybe learn a thing from them. It's not just us teaching everything we know. Like we like to have some benefit to this as well. But the only way you actually generate more skilled modelers is by cutting them off, so they find intrinsic motivation to learn them by themselves. And I highly recommend that too, because the game itself becomes so much more enjoyable when you equip yourself with the knowledge and skills to personalize it, and to really build whatever you want, instead of just sitting around and basically having a sour patch attitude and outlook on life, which literally no one will respect you for holding that, except others that are also sour patched. So and I always say that your best teacher is your last mistake. I didn't make that. That's obviously a very well coined and used term, but it's definitely true. Like me, there's people ask me all the time to make YouTube tutorials, starting from start to finish on how to mod. They say, can you make a video start to finish on the whole modding process? Well, no, I can't. I can, but I won't. The reason is because that wasn't available to me, and that is not really necessary. And everything you need to know is already available. Spend a couple minutes on YouTube just searching how to model. No matter what kind of program you use. I happen to use Blender. I also have Maya, but that Blender and Maya really, they're two drastically different. So it's basically like right brain versus left brain. You really have to train the other side, basically how to retrain yourself and learn the new software. But I definitely think it's worth the effort for me to begin to learn Maya, because that's where FarmSim is, and that's where it will be, and it will only become more proprietary to Autodesk Maya with its features and import-export. So, and not only that, but it's also a more intuitive software. I mean, it's $4,000+ software if you were to purchase it, whereas Blender's open source. Learning on Blender is great. It's quick and easy. It's a little bit difficult because you have to rely heavily on modifiers to make something turn out really well, and to export and for everything to look nice, clean, and crisp. But yeah, when I started to learn, I just started to learn by referencing in-game strips, in-game models, in-game node orders. I would download a mod, try to adjust something simple, go into XML, read threads on FSUK, read threads by using the search function on AEM, use YouTube search on how to change wheels and how to texture, how to UV map, how to model, how to use bevel functions, how to use modifiers, and how to basically do everything. None of it, is really specialized to FarmSim. It's just you can use your general knowledge of all of these tools and apply it to modeling something for FarmSim. And I've made tutorials available on things that I feel will speed up the learning process and reduce the learning curve. Other than that, I feel like everything else will be pretty apparent, pretty transparent, pretty obvious, with a little bit of effort on the individual's part. So I'm pretty bitter when people ask for free cookbook handouts, when myself I'm self-taught by trial and error and just by studying. So that's what I expect others to do as well. And then if they were to come and ask me a very specific, very pinpointed, very precise question that I know they did their homework first, they did the footwork, they did the trial and error. Many times they tried to attack the problem from different angles. I'll be able to tell if someone went through the motions and did that, and I'll be able to tell if they didn't. And I'm more than happy to help someone that's gone through the entire process and exhausted all available resources. And if I'm able to help, I more than certainly will. But for the people that are, more on the quick and easy path, instant gratification, they will be met with nothing but silence. That's just how it is. I'll never bash someone that's trying to learn, as long as they stick at it. It's those that don't want to learn or feel the need that they don't are required to, or put in any effort, or the fact that they feel entitled to those that do work, is you won't accomplish what you're trying to accomplish with that kind of mentality. Just a word of advice. And you see a lot of threads today about private mods and private pictures, or people posting pictures, or people, whatever kind of thing they feel like ranting about on that given day. But the fact is, the only people that have issues with people posting pictures of their work are those that don't have the ability to do it, to replicate it. Those that have taken the time to equip themselves with knowledge and skills to model and texture and to do simple edits, they couldn't care less. In fact, they like seeing that, because they get ideas from it to add to their own games. So again, it's to your benefit to equip yourself with knowledge and tools to make your game that much more enjoyable and that much more independent. I love the PTO. Even the PTO spin, yeah, it's a little bit different. So, I started watching the One Lonely Farmer's YouTube channel, and he runs the same baler. I guess I run the same baler as he. That New Holland, and he just hates that thing. But so I thought it was funny that I like it. I think it looks cool. I never I don't know what it's like in real life. I'm assuming it's a pretty decent baler, but he literally runs shit through that baler. But he's right. The design on that pickup, the amount of idler wheels that are on that one chain, that could have easily been a 2-chain system instead of one large chain. When you're trying to, the amount of stretch is exponential over length. So, the more foot of chain, the more foot of stretch you'll get in a chain, versus you'll get less stretch, overall stretch, less if you were to go with shorter chains, And not only that, but you'd be be able to control your strain on your idler as well. Because I think it was like 4 or 5 basically idle wheels that chain went around just to keep tension. I don't know. I have to agree, it didn't look like a very good design. It looked like some pretty weak, thin metal as well. But you look at some of the windrows that he's trying to pick up with that, at the speed that he's going, it's, you know, it's like, I understand you're trying to get things done, but at the same time, the limitations of a machine is its weakest part. So if you identify that weak part, I don't know how the warranty works on it, if he trades it in every year, but if you're looking to own it, you know, pretty much just like take out your welder and retrofit it and beef it up. Engineer something different. But when you're working on a couple, you know, a piece of equipment that's a couple $100,000, $110,000, $120,000 piece of equipment, you know, you're not fast to avoid the warranty by making modifications. So maybe if you were to like get a different rake, or if you were to dry out, but I mean his product is going to composting, so I don't know. And then I saw one of his latest videos where he basically did a social experiment, which I've done on my Facebook page as well. I basically, when I released my 2720, I put it on my Facebook page initially to reward those who follow. Like, there is a point to following my Facebook page, other than seeing pictures and, you know, getting video links. Like, you know, you'll be one of the first ones to have a mod I release, and the hopes of that was to hopefully they would keep it in-house and not share or post anywhere, so there actually was a benefit versus just releasing on ModHost or AEM so everyone could use it. So there really was no reward for being a follower. It's not like I can like have a website where people pay, you know. Anyways, so that was a social experiment fail. And then he sent some of his viewers, 5 I believe, extra merchandise, and in anticipation of, you know, someone notifying him, being like, I think there was a mistake, blah blah blah. And that just didn't happen, and he was pretty upset about it, let down, disappointed, I guess. But I would have been one of the first ones to tell him, like, are you surprised in response? Like, did you really expect it to be different? So it just goes to show you that people take others' charity and efforts for granted. You know, statistically, everyone's like, well, a few rooted for the Mini, but statistically, if that was true, then of the 5 people, you know, you would expect a majority of them to notify him, yet no one did. So not even 1, not even 20%. So my personal experiences have told me it's not the few that are rooting for the Mini. I think it's a majority, or close to being pretty even, for the people that are rooting it for the other half. So it's not as segregated as you might want to believe. Anyways, this will be a really fun field to grow some alfalfa on, and 16 as well. Definitely be a good time. This one's really good because it's parallel on both sides, so it's pretty easy to run, nice clean lines with GPS. forgot how long it takes to cultivate these fields. I mean, these are pretty decent sized fields. Bring up the map. So we're in 36 right now. I mean, compared to the entire map, it's very small. This is a 4x map, so we're in like a 30. I don't even know anymore. We're in 36. So we're in like a 27 hectare field. You know, and that's one of the smaller fields actually on this map. You know, most of the fields like 1, 2, 26, 44, 16, 9, 8, 30, 31, 32, 19, 40, 40. You know, I would say over half the fields on this map are bigger than that, so I think this is a pretty average field. But then there's quite a few that are smaller, so like 35. 35 is a small field. Teeny tiny. That, 27, 28, 23, 24, 14, 21 is also pretty tiny. All the fields around the main modern dairy farm, they're all pretty small. Small little patchy fields for grass, fairy or hay production. So I started a couple new projects finally. I always start a project by looking for images first and looking for exploded view diagrams first to make sure it's, you know, a viable model to make. You know, if it's hard to find pictures or exploded view diagrams, if I can't see what I'm supposed to model, you know, I'm not a very good guesser when it comes to modeling, because I always end up guessing wrong, and that means everything I built was wasted. Every hour I spent building was wasted. So that's when modelers say I need pictures, the building is halted because it's not really worth the time to guess, because we always guess wrong. You know, unless you're familiar with the equipment, you really can't win in that situation. So this is really rough over here. I don't really know how that happened, but it did. Anyways, a few of us had been flirting with the idea of peanut production equipment, just to get a little bit of more diversity into this game, and I think it'll be really great. A lot of work, like you need a lot of help, so because we have a pretty decent crew of guys to help in NP, we need a lot of tasks to do, so we need to have a production. You know, we have to farm, so most people have a job. So basically you need a lifter, a harvester, you need a merger,